I do that, it goes.
There you go. Yeah, you should be able to see the comments in the top right. They get a little distracting for my ADD sometimes. I lose my train of thought reading the comments sometimes.
I get super. I'm not going to look at them. I don't think.
Yeah.
And then I also see us really small, so I don't know. It takes up a lot of the screen. The comment.
We shall see.
But tell me how you're feeling as we do this.
I'm feeling great today. I do.
But I could give you a recenter you while I'm here.
Oh, I'll never say no to recentering.
There's just there's.
Should I? I'm gonna burn some from Palo Santo actually.
Good.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Hello, hello.
Do you see?
I had a little bit of a giggle with the lighter I found at the store yesterday. Like,
oh, that's gorgeous.
I had such a laugh when I saw that. I bought 2 of them.
We need it everywhere. Yeah, you were talking about the memes. That's what I go online for. It's just to laugh. My daily cracking up. We need so much.
It feels good though. I feel like this energies are changing. I think it was Mercury retrograde that has been causing the most issues. Because yesterday my washing machine broke. I had my mower broke. Like 4 different things broke, and I'm like, why is everything breaking? And then I went, oh yeah, it's Mercury retrograde. Fuck.
Yeah.
I remember.
We're in a reset. So everything needs to be reset. I do feel like the eclipse was pretty intense. There was a wave of negative energy just behind it that we had to like swim through. And it was good to get to the other side of that.
Yes.
Pretty intense. I'm happy we're on the other side of that.
Indeed.
I was going to talk about the last reading I gave you.
By all means.
And share with everyone.
I'm an open book with these guys. I hide nothing. I really do. I am. So, I'm dropping things though. Hang on a second.
Is anyone here? Because I don't see any comments.
Oh, comments. Hi, everybody.
I just got in there. Hi.
I have a spammer already. Look at this.
Oh, there's Lisa. Hi, Lisa. See, I have some people from my class here, which is great. Great. Yeah, I was gonna. First, I wanted to thank you for continuing to do this for us, because I feel like I found my soul family, and that's very rare because I've been in this realm, in this 3D, 4D everyday realm for the last many years, almost 20 years, and I just now am like, yes, I'm home. So thank you, and I just love the podcast because you can see how different everyone is, and you can really see it, how everyone has their own gifts and everyone shares different gifts. And that's what I'm all about, is showing people their gifts, clearly, seeing them clearly, showing them their gifts clearly. And I wanted to share with everyone that when I did your reading a while ago, I was like, wow, thank you for the validation, where I could see that you're just the embodiment of unconditional love. That's just who you are. Now you've stepped into that vibration right now. It could be that you were in a different vibration, like you said before that, but that's how you created this vibration. But when you stepped into this vibration, you can see that it's something that you came in with. You had it. You just chose sort of that channel. And it's all about unconditional love. And your work in that right now, because there's always, what are you updating, is the owning the abundance, receiving, allowing. And we talked about, I mentioned Amma, that some people might know, that hugging guru. And I was like, that's what you are. You don't have to do anything. Just you being you is holding space for others to be themselves. And that's, I've been reading that energy for years, and finally I saw the embodiment of it, and I was like, that's what it is. So you, like, your imprint right now is, holding space for others, creating sacred space for others, and not having to do much other than being yourself. And when people are around that kind of energy, they naturally, their vibration raises. So it's like, just like
that's the name of the game. That's why us star seeds are down here. We're carrying that high frequency, and we're disseminating it to all the people, and not just people, but animals, and the actual space itself. And you can feel how a friend of mine, for example, the other day was telling me about how she went into this, she's doing a mediumship circle. and the building that they were working in was an old mill, and there was a lot of heavy energy, we'll put it that way, through the people that worked very hard, lost their lives in that mill, etc., over the years. And her studio is in the very center of that space. And by bringing people into that space to do the mediumship work, they've raised the vibration of that space. As soon as you walk out, it feels completely different.
Mhm.
But when you walk in, you can feel the shift, the change. She's reclaimed that space and risen the vibration and brought light into that space. And you can feel the coldness when you step out of that space into the rest of the world. And that's kind of the funny thing, is that warm space that we're building within is spreading. It's like pushing the darkness out. It's slowly happening. You know what I mean? These things take time. But you
Yeah.
can tell that we are getting so strong that we're starting to just shove out all that old energy and to
Yeah.
clear it out and to raise it up.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, because space is, the more she meditates there, the more she does the work, the more that energy expands. But that's also how that works within us. The more we
Yes.
validate that internal space, the more expanded it becomes. And then, it's
Mhm.
easier for us to step in and out of there because it's a practice space, it's an expanded space, which is, yeah. And then that has an effect on all the people around us. So,
Exactly.
yeah, 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 yeah,
That's
yeah,
what we're
yes,
doing to
yes.
this world. We're clearing out clearing out all the old funk.
And it works the same way, with shadow energy. Sometimes, when people have a lot of old energy they have to work through, I say you sometimes you don't have to work through that. You just have to step in present time as yourself and who you want to become. And when you run your energy enough through your body, that energy will naturally fall away because you're no longer validating it. So it actually,
Mhm.
because the negatively charged energy, say if you have an area where there's a judgment there, somebody judged you over something, and you take that in, and it's not your energy, so it creates a block or a cut in your flow of energy. It's like, and then every time you hit that, if you add your negative thoughts to it, it grows and it grows. And then, so what happens is, sometimes you have to have the aha moment of, okay, what am I clearing? But other times you just stepping in and running your energy in present time is going to naturally clear that out. Just like, where are you putting your attention? If your attention is going on things that are not aligned with your truth or your purpose, that's where you're going to be living. You're literally giving away your life force energy. And that's why it's so important to learn how to get centered, focus your energy, clear your energy, because we're
Have
exposed.
boundaries, cut your cords, all of those things.
Yeah, we're exposed to so much. It's just learning. You can be exposed to a ton of energy, a ton of people, as long as you know how to come back in, clear everything out, and recenter. My husband woke up this morning and he was not doing well, and I was like, "What's wrong?" And he was like, "I had this nightmare that like there were gas explosions everywhere." And I was like, and sometimes he has these
Oh.
weird apocalyptic. And I was like, have you been watching the news? And he was like,
I was
no.
gonna say that the news is something that probably happened from, yeah.
And I was like, you better clear that like right away. Cause I was busy with getting my daughter to school and all the shit. Cause otherwise I would have done it for him. And then he came back for lunch and he was still feeling like shit. And I was like, are you okay? What's wrong with you? Like, is it high blood pressure? What's going? Because he's diabetic. And he said, no, it's that nightmare I had. And I was like, why didn't you clear that energy this morning? So just knowing how to like clear your third chakra, your astral memory, just that's basic maintenance for the day to day. And this is why I teach, because it's so important. I could do readings all day. It's not going to help people if I can see clearly what they're working on, but it'll help them to know how to manage their own energy. What were you going to
Well, as
say?
a quick tip, say for somebody that's new to this sort of thing, that is starting to realize that there are energy vampires out there, what is a quick little suggestion that somebody could make to clear that energy after, let's say, you bumped into somebody on the street with a bad attitude that's made you feel really down afterward?
There are a few. You could shower, which would help. You could shower. The energy that'll clear
Wash
the.
all that energy off.
If you know how to ground, that's a sure way because you're literally creating like a drain pipe. And so when you ground, all the ungrounded energy in your space is going to be cleared so that you can come back in. Grounding. What else can you do? We say that complete relaxation, so, which is really difficult for most people to do. You have to literally these days train yourself to do that. We don't know how to totally rest. But if you get to a state of total rest, you will reset your chakras. That's why people feel so good after they go to for a massage, but only if they actually let go in that massage. Because a lot of us, a lot of people get a massage and still be ruminating on their day.
I caught myself. I was the last massage I had. I started laughing on the table, and the lady's like, "Everything okay?" And I was like, "No, I just caught myself working in my head. Like I'm not supposed to be working, but here I am. I'm literally doing stuff for work in my head while I'm getting the massage." And I'm like, "That is not what I'm supposed to be doing right now. I'm supposed to
But
be
that's yeah, but
clearing
that's
the
what
mind."
you have to train yourself to go to a massage, and that's why it's good to go regularly, even if it's once a month or once every 2 months or
Mhm.
once every 2 weeks, but regularly, because your body is gonna know how to reprogram itself. It'll understand, oh, I'm getting a massage, so it's time to let go. And if that happens to you on the table, imagine like a drain pipe from your head all the way down to the earth. And while you're getting the massage, using your breath, just imagining the colors, the thoughts going down and just exiting. But it takes practice. This is why that's why meditation is a practice, because our bodies have to readapt. When you get a migraine, it'll just keep, if you validate that migraine, it'll keep coming, and then it'll create the cycle that never ends. So you have to break the cycle by retraining the system, just like with anything else, like playing a musical instrument or whatever it is. So
Yes,
yes, takes training. Visualization. Wait,
it
wait.
certainly does.
I'm looking at the.
Yes, exactly, Lisa. That's what you do. You visualize the white light energy, or you could do it in any form of energy. It could be golden light, it could be violet flame light, whatever you want. And you just visualize that around yourself and clearing out, burning away all of the negative energy. And one of my favorite exercising is exercises is breathing in the light and then breathing out like that you can visualize it as black smoke, where you're just breathing out the energy that is not yours, that you are returning to wherever it came from.
Mhm. Yeah, and someone said, "Wish I could visualize." It's clairvoyance. You can learn to do that. There's a class of that. You can learn how to be clairvoyant, but some people can never do it, and that's okay. I've had people like that in my classes. So we say, fake it till you make it. So find a way. That's why the practice is important. You can tell yourself that you're doing
You can
it.
say it out loud. Words are just as
Now
powerful. Yes.
you can create a switch, a technique where this is my switch. When I turn the switch, then I'm grounded. But the consistency is important, because think of it as you're creating that space within you, and then every time you step into that space, you click into that. Just like I can go from this talking to you in 3D to a reading space, but that's because I've expanded that reading space. I can jump from one state of consciousness to another. Everyone can do that. It's just something that you train yourself to do. And it's important because there's so much noise out there right now for us. It's just like nonstop. And so most people are walking around not in their bodies.
Yeah. This is the thing. A lot of people are not very well grounded at all. There was somebody we checked the other day and they were like, "No, she's up there." Basically, like, "No, she's not in her body right now. She
Yeah.
thinks she is." But this
Yeah.
is why you get so clumsy and you start tripping over your own feet and stuff, and you don't realize why. It's because you are severely ungrounded. You're floating up there and your body is down here.
So, and then until you get a massive slap, which some people do, like an accident or a pool, but nowadays it's better because the people that I see in the day to day, that's people have awakened, so it's not as bad as it used to be. People are
Yeah.
more aware of their bodies and the communication with the body. But when you're not in your body, other energy gets in. That's the problem. Whatever energy is going to validate you, you're going to start running that as fuel. And so when you sit down to meditate, the first thing you're hitting is all of that energy. That's the first layer. I saw on one of your pages, I didn't have time to respond, but there were people saying, "Oh, I see faces. When I close my eyes, I see different faces." And that is literally the first step of meditating, of coming back into the body. A lot of people will see in the first, 2 hours of meditation, what you'll clear is other people's energy. And so what you see is what you're clearing. Or some people will
Interesting.
experience a lot of physical pain. That'll be the energy you're clearing out of your body. So there's like a ton between us and our bodies. And that's why it's so important to get in there and start to first clear everything out, because then you create the space for focus. Then you can focus your energy and manifest the things that you want. Otherwise, it's hit and miss. You're like, one day you're connected and something comes to you, another day you're completely off. But if you know how to come back to yourself every day, once you learn how to do it, it takes 5 minutes, it takes 10 minutes. You'll know because you'll feel the shift in energy. So, yeah, super important. Super,
And
super.
it's exciting too because these gifts are getting stronger now with the energies that are upgrading. We're kind of upgrading with it. And so we don't have to work as hard as we might have had to back in the day.
Thank you for saying that. Totally. And I can see that in my classes because I do readings and I do classes every day. So from 2007 to today, it's like I'm just so excited because before people would have to sit for hours, work through energy. And now it's just like instant. Things shift
Mhm.
instantly. People have aha moments instantly. It's, yeah, you're the only one who can get in your way. I mean, within that process. And it's and also understanding that it's a process of healing every part of yourself. It's physical, emotional, and spiritual. Because a lot of people will come for a reading and they'll want to heal like 60 years worth of stuff. And I'm like, there's a lot here. But and I tell them there's nothing, it's a process and it's a fun process because when I have pain, I embrace it. I'm like, thank you. I'm going to learn something. I'm going to go deeper. I'm going to find something out. So
Pain
if
is a
you,
big teacher on this planet.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people learning the pain lesson right now. And it's usually about coming home to yourself, really getting in tune with your body and understanding your body needs, because we neglect our body so much for so long. And a lot of times it's trying to tell us what's wrong and we aren't listening to the signs. And then they get louder and louder, and to the point where, you have to actually take a huge break from big stuff in your life because you have to focus on your health. And a lot of people are learning that lesson right now, unfortunately.
But if you do it every day, if you create your day around you, and that's very third chakra, around how do I create a day that supports who I am physically, emotionally, and spiritually, then you're creating your reality. And then you have extra to help others to share. But if your energy is everywhere and you're like managing a million things and you're giving your attention to a ton of things, and some of them are aligned with your purpose and some are not, then you're wasting a lot of energy.
Mm, yeah, big
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. And
So many wonderful comments today.
yeah, tell me what they are.
Sherry says, for example, interesting, I see colors when I give others a massage. White is the most healing. I see turquoise and pink as feel good energies, and bad or pain spots I see as black.
Hmm. Yeah. And again, colors mean different things to different people. As healers, as readers, we'll see colors and they'll mean something to us. They might not mean the same thing to other people. But black is usually when energy's stuck. There's
Yes.
foreshadow.
That dark, stagnant, lower vibe
Mhm.
energy. Yeah,
Which
we find dark patches on everybody when we're doing clearings on people. We find these dark energy patches, and usually it's just concentrations of negative energy that we're housing within our body in a certain space, certain
exactly.
spot.
And then we validate it can grow
Like
or
shoulders, for example, because we're carrying too much stress, and the next thing you know, we've got these dark patches on our shoulders, and we're like, "Wow, you're quite literally manifesting your stress into your auric field."
totally. And this is responsibility energy. That's where it sits. Right here.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So just having that just like brushing your teeth, just having that communication, coming back to your body, knowing how to clear your space every day
Mm,
is everything. It's so helpful.
yes.
Mhm.
And I must say, when you were working on me, when we had that session, it felt like hundreds of tiny little electric fingers all over my auric field when you were clearing all of that energy. It was the most relaxing thing ever, you guys. I'm not even kidding. I sat there like, while she was working on me. It felt so good.
Yeah, and I do use my hands. Not everyone does. I'm reading, but I use my hands because I was an artist most of my
You're
life.
doing psychic surgery,
I'm
basically.
doing psychics exactly, and sometimes I can feel the pain or ow or "Ooh, electric shock or whatever it is, and this person could be miles and miles away. But yes, it is like psychic surgery, pretty much. Hmm.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions at all? We can talk about so many
I'm
different.
sure they do. These guys always have wonderful questions. And we've had a few of your students popping up in the comments.
That's great. I'm so happy.
Lisa and Catherine are here. Nice to see you both, by the way. I'm so glad you guys are enjoying because Catherine says she's been in classes with you since January and it's been spectacular.
Hmm. And Catherine and Lisa and pretty much that whole group is so advanced. Like wow, they're flying through things and just like they're sucking it in. They're eating it up, which is so exciting. Yeah, everyone's just ready for this work.
Shauna is here as well. She says, I highly recommend. Tzipora is wonderful. Her meditation classes are amazing. Beyond grateful for all I've learned from her.
Aw,
So
thank you
you've
guys.
been instrumental in this community for quite a while now, just doing lots of
Thanks
training and teaching and healing.
thanks to you. And I feel like you've all given so much to me. I learned so much. I'm not as you don't see my face in there or in the comments as much just because I'm busy, but I do get there. Especially your solo podcasts, I listen to them as much as I can. The other ones, because I don't have time, it's a hit and miss, but the ones I do get to
We've all
listen.
been very busy. It's been this whole shift, I think, is ramping up faster than ever. I've never been this busy in all my life.
It's just so difficult for so many people, you know, and that's why it's so important to have that toolkit, to have a spiritual toolkit, but also a physical toolkit and an emotional toolkit, meaning a lot of different things you can do to support yourself at all times, depending on where you are that day or how you're feeling. You need to have a lot to pull from, and that's why it's great that you have this community because people, whatever they resonate with, they can find the support and the whatever they need. in-
Exactly. That's why I have so many different teachers and mentors that come on here because we all will gravitate towards a different energy, it's more along the lines of just kind of finding your group that you fit the best in.
yeah.
And
Yeah. And I want to put it out there that anyone who ever wants to reach out, we'll share my email just for anything about this. I help a lot of my students with creating their spiritual businesses as well, just because I've been in this field for so many years. But anything about healing and the chakras and energy and the body. Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah.
trying to bam a spammer right now.
Oh,
There's been a couple already this morning. They're coming out in full force. Gotta whack them.
yeah. Who does that in the healings because it's gotten crazy in healings as well. Like I told you, I mean, I rarely get attacked by entities while I'm doing a healing, but it's happened more often these days, especially since the eclipse. Yeah.
Oh, I have to read this comment from Lisa. Lisa, you're so sweet. Tzipora has been a catalyst for all of us in class to build and grow in so many different ways and in unexpected or surprising ways. I cannot express what it is to be in her classes. Her wealth of knowledge, her care for your being, and her approach to teaching is fundamentally different than anything I have ever been exposed to before. Tzipora came into my life at a time when I was looking for a lot, and she and her class ended that search. It's been incredible.
Aw,
Wow.
that's great. It's not me. It's just coming through.
It is you.
Yeah.
The vessels are not getting enough credit.
Aw. Thank you, Lisa. I love you. And I'm so happy you're in my class. I learn so much from my students and from my clients all the time. And like we talked the other day, me and you, how it's never boring when you do this kind of work because I
Mm-mm.
can be exhausted. And as mothers, we go into 3D and then into 4D. And sometimes, I go back to work after putting my kid to bed, feeding her dinner, all this other stuff. And my husband looks at me and says, are you actually going to go to a reading right now? And I'm like, yeah, and I'm exhausted. But the minute I sit down, it's like so exciting. How can I support this person? What are we going to see? What are we going to find? Like, what are we going to learn? It's never ending. And yeah. So that's why I say everyone should learn how to be psychic and clairvoyant because it's going to help you in everything you do in your life. And
Every single one of you are a medium and you don't even realize it. And that's the thing.
And so even if you come, I've had students who are like, I can't visualize. They find other ways. The classes are important because you have the structure and it's held, it's safe, you're being supported. You have these other students who share whatever it is. There's always matching energy between the students. So you have an agreement to do the class together and to heal whatever it is that you're healing together. So
Yeah.
it's just important on so many levels. And like you had a guest yesterday, I forgot his name.
JD, yeah.
No, who?
JD Duncan.
JD, yes, yes, yes. And I was like, look how different everyone is, because I can barely keep up with him when he speaks because he's such a word.
He's so smart. Like, it's
He's so smart.
unbelievable. It's hard to keep up sometimes with his wit. I know.
You are too. So you're sort of on that side. But me, I always say I'm not a word person. I was an artist my whole life. I spent all my life with colors and shapes, and now with energy. And I grew up. I don't even have a mother tongue. I grew up with so many different languages. So for me, the writing and reading and it's more complicated. The way I think is, but it works for energy because energy teaches you to simplify. And today I want to tell everyone, just simplify your lives right now, because the more you have going on, the more intense it's going to get. Just simplify. I always say, stay local. Try not to travel too often, too much, especially if you're working on stuff and healing. Make sure everything is close to your house. Stay grounded, stay local, and simplify your lives. Get rid of things. Don't add too much in, because we're already on such an overload energetically.
Mm-hmm.
Once
Yes, we
you,
are.
yeah, and what I told you, once you find that inner space, it doesn't matter, even though you'll choose to be an energy snob. But until then,
You
you
got to protect your vibe, and some people are going to be like, they're offended by that, by like, it's almost like a snootiness sometimes that you might sense from that, but it's not intended to be. You have to set boundaries, and unfortunately there are people that will drag your vibration down drastically if you spend time in their vicinity. But it's the opposite. That's what we're here for. We're counterbalancing that, because we do the opposite. You come
Mhm.
into a space, and rather than feeling drained and exhausted, you feel uplifted, you feel stronger. It's because you're anchoring each other's high frequencies.
But if you get distracted by that or match that, you're not helpful because you're going down to that level. Talking to a
Exactly.
friend yesterday who was telling me about her boyfriend's son who's a drug addict, and the boundaries, and he keeps coming into their
Yeah.
house, and now she's scared. And I told her, you can't help him from that space because he's bringing
No.
you down. You have to set a boundary, and then once you're overflowing, then from that space you can send him love and compassion. You
What
can't
was that saying? They're going to drag you down to their level. That's something that we often say, and we don't even realize what we mean. We think like consciousness level, but really it's vibration level. Because
yeah,
if somebody is in a very low vibration, and if you aren't locking down your frequency, you're going to lower your vibe. That's why
and then
whenever you meet somebody sometimes, and the vibration is really strong, and you feel like you're what's the word? Connecting with your own self in a way, on a deeper level. Whereas other people you meet, and you're like, I can't even be around that person for 5 minutes. you know?
but there's also a lesson in that, but yeah,
Exactly.
but really it's understanding that all you can do for other people is validate them, have compassion for them, support them in your own way, but you can't solve their problems for them. So what happens is people try to solve those problems, and they're really big problems that some people have, and then not only are they dragged down, but then they're matching that energy, but then they're creating the negative energy within them because they can't solve the problem. So now they're feeling guilty, they're feeling bad, and then it just gets worse and worse and worse. But that happens with everything you try to, if ever you try to solve someone else's problem, you're not going to be able to. And that's
Yeah.
sort of like the second thing I teach in meditation is everything in this bubble is your problem. Everything outside of this bubble, meaning your aura, give to God. You're not God, so you can't solve those problems. So just, if there's something that's bothering you, that's really, you know pulling at your heart, just say, I give it to God. I give it to God because otherwise it's
I
going to
give it to
drag.
God.
Yeah. And like you
Give it
said,
back to source. Send it back to source. I don't want it. It's not what I ordered.
yeah, yeah. It's a third, like you said, it's a third chakra thing because the boundaries, third chakra is very much the sword, cutting out what doesn't serve you. Because, and it's the
Yes.
commitment to the body. You can't be on your path if you're not committed to your own energy. If you're constantly getting distracted, you're not going to feel very powerful. You're not going to
Oh,
be able to
yeah.
focus.
Joy had a good question. She says, "How do we teach our children from protecting themselves from negative energy?" Um, let's say before she was practicing meditation, but because of her friends and screen time at school, they still catch negative attachments.
Yeah. So children, it's really important to understand, and I've said this before in here, I think that until they're 15 last year, so until 16, they're energetically connected to you, to the parents with an energy cord. So
Mm.
everything you do, they're absorbing. Even if they're not using those tools yet, you can't see it, it's built into their system. If you're meditating when you're pregnant, if you're meditating when they're little, they're, you don't, they don't learn from what you say, they learn by energy, by what they see, by what they
Little
experience,
sponges.
by how they experience you. So if you're anxious or in fear, then they're going to take that on. So your job is to actually work on yourself and things that you can do because they're very much in 3D at that age, even though, they're not, they're also very much in 4D. But the things that they will connect to more are the crystals. So training them from a young age to wear protective crystals, and crystals against EMF radiation. So that's something that some kids will connect to, probably all kids, wearing protection, um, having them shower when they get home. If you know how to, you work your clairvoyant space, or if you're a little bit psychic, then you can give them a healing. You can clear their space for them. Or just like you can give them a clearing.
I've had my little guy helping me out in the garden, digging in the dirt, planting seeds,
It's
watering plants, feeding birds, all of those things.
connecting them to their strength, to their power, to
Mm.
that grounding energy, protection. What else could they do for protection? Just the usual things that we can do, sage them.
Call in your team, ask for, help, get your bubble of light going.
Bubble, but I've tried that with my daughter. She forgets about the aura, the bubble, but for her, she knows now. She really, oh, I didn't like this person's energy, or I didn't feel that person. And the kids today, they're very strong. Like she does things that I'm like, "What?" She's like, I told him off and I set a boundary, and I'm like, good for you.
That's awesome.
They're super powerful. The kids that are coming in today. Yeah. And it's good to start with the crystals young because they enjoy that. They enjoy wearing the bracelets and necklaces. They have crystals in their rooms. Something they're connected to. They have to have their own connection and their own experience with it, and that'll make a difference.
I told my son that his stuffies are his protectors at night. I said, so just to visualize that your stuffies are guarding you and protecting you, and then you don't have to worry about anything in the nighttime. No bad dreams or anything.
And they
And
really
so he
they are the animals that they have in bed with them. Those are their animal guides.
Well,
Those
they're thought forms. We create thought forms all the time. This is one of the things I taught in my astral projection class, that you can create a thought form that is sole purpose is to protect you and to keep other astral travelers away, to keep entities away. You can quite literally manifest your own familiar in
yeah.
the astral.
Yeah, and they get it. I mean, I talk about my guides, and then my daughter has her own guides. I've given her a guide at some point, and I didn't harbor on it. Like I just said it maybe once, and then she'll start creating her own guides. And she's like, I have this protective guide, and I have this protective guide, and she's very much a kid that's in 3D. She's very much into the physical stuff, but then she has this side from me, which she doesn't talk about with other people, but she'll just say things, and I'm like, okay, she got it. Like they connect with these things, and I think I did one meditation her whole life, actual guided meditation about a unicorn, um, connecting with a unicorn in the astral plane, and she, that shifted things for her already, just that one time. So
My little guy's got a thing for dragons. I told him, he said, "You gotta protect your dragon. You don't have to worry." He's like, "Okay." Like he just loves any of the old. I don't even like to say mythology anymore. The old legends and lore that the fairies and all of that. And I think like the children, they know deep down that they're all real. I think that they kind of
Totally.
get that robbed from them from maybe peers or from the movies or whatever it is, but for the most part children are born with a deeper understanding of elementals and nature than most adults
And
have.
totally. I mean, my daughter, which when you talk about reptilians, she's like all into. She knows. She gets it. She doesn't question it.
Yeah, so does my little guy. He
She
gets it.
understands that it's real.
Oh, the Lizzies again. That's what he said.
She's like, I saw one the other day, and that guy was. I'm like, yeah.
Oh
They
wow.
Yeah, they don't. They get it. They don't question. They're open. They're open to everything, which is how you want to be. You just want to be open to everything until you prove that it's not something that's aligned with you. And for kids, I wanted to say too that it's important for you, just like you lock the door and you do these things to protect your house on a physical level. It's important to clear the energy of your house. If you can't, if you don't know how to do it yet, but you will clairvoyantly, you can do it with sage. It's important because when you do that,
It's intention even.
you're
You set the
owning.
intention every morning to close portals. That's another big one because a lot of times our children are astral traveling. They don't remember because they're not downloading those memories to their brain. And so they have a whole lot of experiences that they're having in the astral, not realizing that they may be leaving doors open when they're coming and going.
Mhm, mhm. And there's a lot more of that I'm seeing now with people too. It's part
There
of
was
the
one lady the other day that had 6 portals in her house, and I was like, "How did these open?" And she goes, "Oh, both her kids are astral traveling," and it's like, "Oh, so they're just leaving doors open everywhere."
and I
So
think
they recommended shutting the doors. They said close the physical doors every night, and then in the morning when you wake up, set the intention to close all the portals that have been opened the evening before, and it will close them.
exactly. And that can be your meditation practice, is clearing your home, clearing the house, clearing your kids, putting up protection. We were talking about this the other day, that I have these entities that at each gate, and one on one side with the neighbors, just every day I check in with them and validate them, and everything is protected and clear, and then you feel good, because otherwise you're carrying all of that anxiety with you, like, is my kid okay, is that okay? No, you just take
Mhm.
care of it like in 5 minutes, and
Yeah,
you're
absolutely. Uh, Debbie says that she's got her 3 and 5-year-old granddaughters amethyst crystals to keep in their pillowcases. The youngest was having a lot of nightmares and night terrors. I hope this helps them.
done.
Any other recommendations you would for children that are having nightmares? Probably
Hmm.
smudging the room, putting sea salt around the room, making sure they have sea salt baths before bed, that sort of thing. Clear that negative energy for them.
Yeah. So nightmares are usually related to boundaries. So make sure that they're not watching anything that's scary. Make sure that I know they're young, but even then, parents can talk about these things. It usually is related to something that has come into their space that is a darker energy. And it could be anything. They could have seen their parents arguing and taken that on. That all sits in that area. And that's,
Could
when you
have picked up an entity while being out and about too. Children aren't as susceptible usually. They've got a very high vibration, but if they've been unwell or stressed or anything like that, they can pick up attachments just like we
And
can.
it's all third chakra. So it's understanding that whatever's happening on a physical level is going to affect their sleep as well. It's not that it's two different spaces, the astral and the physical. If you're having boundary things come up on the physical, it's going to show up as nightmares. So for kids, what you can do for them is you can rub your hands together, open your hand chakras, place them over your belly button, and with gold light, just clear their astral memory for them. I used to do that every day for my daughter. Now she doesn't need it anymore. She does it for herself. But that's where the silver cord is, and that's where the memory is, and that's what's happening. It's just blocked in there. They've
Mm.
taken on something that is a lie to their energy. That blockage is a lie to their truth. And so, and you'll notice if you watch a lot of news and a lot of things like that, you're going to have nightmares eventually, if not right away, because you're taking on this negative energy and it's becoming a problem for your space. If you're clearing your energy every day, it's not
Yeah,
going to
the news is
fun.
a big one. My mom picked up an attachment the other day from the news. I went over to visit her, and she was crying about something that had happened, and she was very emotional about two officers that were killed in the line of duty in Syracuse, our hometown, the other day, and she was really upset about it. And I was like, Mom, I said, people choose their fate. You gotta kind of let this go. And she just wouldn't let it go. And so the next morning, I check on her and see how she's doing. And she was really depressed. She was even saying things like, oh, I don't feel like having my horses. I might get rid of some of my horses. And that's when, as soon as she said that, I was like, nope, that's it. I'm clearing you right now. I'll call you back when I'm done. And I just hung up with her. And it was funny because I went and I called a friend and I said, can you please check my mom? She's not acting right. I think she's got an earthbound and a level 1 on her. Well, they checked my mom and they found the level 1. So I was like, okay, I wonder where the earthbound went, because I know I sensed an earthbound. I don't know why. My intuition says there was an earthbound. So sure enough, I called my mom and I was like, you feeling better? And she's like, well, funnily enough, the minute you hung up and said you were about to do a clearing on me, I felt so much better. And I was like, well, okay, sounds good. I was like, any more thoughts about, any negative thoughts? No, I feel great. I don't feel bad at all anymore. I feel wonderful. So about an hour later, I sat down with that same friend to do some clearings. And I went and I said, can you check my sovereignty real quick? Because she's like, you have an earthbound on you.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, there it is. Like, okay.
Wow.
It must have jumped when I said I was going to go and clear her. It must have been like, oh, there's my ride. And
Yeah,
jumped
and
to me.
so that sort of validates that she took on this energy that wasn't hers from the news,
Exactly.
and then she was compromised, and then because she was that way, she took on another energy that wasn't hers. So like attracts like.
Mm-hmm.
So it's super
Yes.
important to
And
clear.
this earthbound was depressed. You could tell. Like her depression jumped to me, and then I felt depressed. And then as soon as it was gone, both of us felt so much better. So you'll never imagine just how much one person's energy attaching to you can shift all of what you're thinking and feeling.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's so important to be aware, to get to know your energy, because then you'll know
Yeah.
when you're not yourself right away.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that people are
Absolutely.
used to walking around not feeling good, so they think it's normal. Yeah, for sure.
I just want to read some of these comments. Jerry is here. Hi, Jerry. Says, I've been taking Tzipora's meditation classes since January, and she has facilitated a major shift in my spiritual practices and deeper understanding. Her
Oh, thank
manner is very gentle and accepting, and such a wonderful teacher. She can make deep, complex lessons acceptable. I thank you, Laura, for bringing her into my life. I'm so grateful.
Hi, Jerry. And I promise I'll read all the comments when we're done, because I can't keep writing. But yes, Jerry, of course. I'm telling you, everyone in that group is absolutely amazing. And
Everybody in this whole soul
yes,
family, this
yes,
whole collective is just phenomenal. We really are coming together so strongly, and I really do feel like, as we were saying at the beginning of the podcast, that when you create a space that's full of love and light, that space will start to grow and change and evolve, and that is exactly what we're seeing here. Is this community is spreading its love and its light everywhere.
it's your energy, and it's nurturing energy. It's like a maternal energy, even though you might not see it that way, but that's the energy. But that's what an ashram is. That's what they used to do. Ashrams are, they're sacred spaces that hold the energy, and then it grows and grows and grows and grows. And so we're doing it in a completely different way, unexpected way, that works so well, because everyone that's here, I'm sure, can notice that when they're listening to your podcast, or when they're thinking about you, or when they're connecting with someone in the group, it's like an instant higher vibration. It just like shifts your energy right away. And that's because we all have this agreement. So it's this like collective. That's why when you're meditating in a group, or you're doing a group class, it's way more powerful than meditating alone at home, because there's so much support, there's so much love on an energetic level, that it just, you get it. And yeah, and it might go away after a while if you go back to your life, but it has shifted you. And so the more you validate it, the more expanded it gets.
Yeah.
Yes. So wonderful.
Well said.
Thank you. Thank you.
Love has already won, Ray says. Absolutely, Ray. I completely agree. We're just kind of clearing out the space now. I feel like we've already won. We're just cleaning up the mess. Like
And supporting those that are shell shocked, because there's a lot of that, we've all been on this journey for a long time, everyone that's here. So
many lifetimes.
it's an easier ride, but some people are like, woo, poo, woo, it's pretty intense for a lot of people right now. So
Yeah, it is.
holding space for them as well.
Krista has a question. She says, ever since I began meditating in my early 20s, I'm 34, there has been a purple/violet light in my mind's eye. After the eclipse, it expanded to almost like a window. It has actually turned into a window a few times, and I could see through it if I focused enough. I don't know what it is, though. Well, as soon as we hear purple-violet light, I'm thinking of Saint Germain and the violet flame.
Yeah. And Saint Germain, I think I've told you I've had a past life. Saint Germain is right here with us right now because he's one of my.
Are you serious?
My main guides. I work just with Saint Germain pretty much in all my classes, and I have one guide. And we had a past life together in Europe, which I won't even get into. Is hilarious. But so it could be that what you're seeing is you're seeing your third eye. You're activating your third eye. It depends. I mean, where you're feeling. Did she say when she meditates? Where do you see it?
Yeah.
But it's usually
when she says it's in her mind's eye.
Yeah, so it's your third eye. That is your third eye. That is your mind's eye. So when we meditate, we see either a screen or a window when we do the clairvoyant meditation. I just love Saint Germain and the Divine Flame. Yes, Saint Germain is amazing. Teacher, artist, sassy. He has good style. He's just he has a lot of good energy for sure. My client
Helena says, I have been worried about doing Reiki at night on myself and falling asleep while doing it and not finishing the session. Can this be a problem?
I don't think so. No, it shouldn't be a problem. Just like when we turn down our chakras or turn up our chakras when we do different things, we don't have to go back and reset them. It sort of happens automatically. They just go back into alignment. I don't know that much about Reiki energy. I know that Reiki energy is healing with universal energy that you're tapping into. The energy healing that I do is using your energy. You're actually healing yourself. I'm just channeling your energy through my hands. So it's a little bit different. But yeah, I wouldn't worry about that at all. You could set an intention and just say, when I'm done with this healing, even if I'm asleep, can I finish it? Or when I wake up, can I finish the healing? I used to use years ago, it's called MAPS. Some of you might know it, have a great book about it. It's using Brotherhood of Light, I think, or some, I can't remember right now. It's a group of healers that come and they do psychic surgery on you. And so a lot of times you'll fall asleep. But what I used to do when I received those healings, that's what it reminds me of, is I used to say, when I wake up to go to the toilet or in the morning, guides, please remind me to close the healing. And it always worked. I would get up in the middle of the night to pee, or I would wake up in the morning and I would remember right away. And I would do the, you have to say something like, please finish the healing. I don't remember. There was something that you would have to say, but you can do that. Just program yourself to finish the healing. Especially,
I feel like our guides, you're setting your intention. It's like your guides, they know what you're doing as well. I'm sure they assist you with these sort of things too when they see that you're, especially if you ask for their help and say, can you just help me make sure that I'm balancing these things correctly, etc., that sort of thing.
It's just that we, all of us, when you don't do this every day or all the time, you don't think that you don't get the validation. So you're like, am I really hearing my guides? Am I really doing this? But it's a practice, and you can actually ask for the evidence. Like, just say, I want the evidence. I want to know that this is working. But again, remember, the practice is important because you're creating a different space, and that's what you're starting to expand. So that this other space that you've been working in no longer has a lot of your energy in, but this new space that you've created is where you want to be. So this new space that you've created is like, oh, this is where I connect with spirit. Just like if you want to connect with someone who's passed over, who's transitioned, create an altar, put a photo of them there, and every day do something small to connect with their energy, and then that energy will grow and that communication will grow. But you have to be consistent because you have a physical body. It's a container. So it's like it needs to be programmed in the way that you want it to be programmed. It's a machine. That's why the ladies in the group that are in my current class, we're learning about the mechanics of the chakras. And so we don't, you don't use it that much knowing how the chakras actually work, but it's good to know because if you have to reset your chakra, you want to, you know how to do it. And it's bringing your awareness
Everybody's
to these parts of the
everybody we check. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not easy to balance something you can't see. So you have to feel it out, and you'll know there's certain signs when something isn't open and flowing properly.
Mhm.
What would you
And
say
so,
is one of the most noticeable?
what do you mean? You did cut
When
out for a minute.
when one of your, let's say, like one of your root is closed, how would you notice?
Well, I would know because when I read, it's black on one side or both sides. So that's how I know it's blocked. If the energy's flowing, there's going to be colors flowing through. And
My most noticeable is the throat chakra because you can literally feel it closing, and your voice will start to fluctuate too. You'll start to notice when it's not flowing properly, your voice will crack, or you'll have to clear your throat and stuff like that.
yeah, or there's pain, pain. That's
Mm-hmm.
your chakra usually when it's been blocked for a long time. Yeah, and it's just important for everyone to understand that you can heal your body, you can heal anything. It's just a matter of practice and trusting and having faith and understanding that it's a process. Understanding we call it a growth period because some growth periods are shorter. You might have something that you can heal quickly, but other things that are deeper in might take longer for you to heal. But it's important to understand that you have to get in there. It's not going to happen if somebody else gives you a drug to take. You're not really looking at the root of this. And so people usually,
No, in most cases we're just brushing it under the carpet with a pill because we're trying to mask the symptoms, not the root of the problem.
yeah, or we're having surgeries, which of course sometimes you need and it's life saving, but other times it just creates more issues versus just getting to the root and cleaning it out. And a lot of it is trusting your body again and trusting that you have the power and trusting that you know what to do and you know how to heal yourself. Yeah. Yes. This is why I teach healer, heal thyself. Exactly. Yes. If you can't see yourself, if you can't read yourself, if you can't heal yourself, you're not going to be any good to anyone else. So that's step one for sure. Get in there and get to know yourself. That's why the first few classes of meditation, some people cry for like an hour because
Engaging
there's
those
that much
emotions.
emotional energy that they haven't looked at. It's just there, but they're overriding it every day.
We bottled it up in our pressure cookers, you know?
Them say hello to your body, and then they're like, oh,
Mm.
I've never said hello to my body. That's the first communication is hello, body. I see you. I love you. I'm here.
Most of the time when we're talking to our body, we don't say nice things to it,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know? And so this will come back to bite you, unfortunately, because if you talk badly about something, then why would it heal itself? Why would it put itself into alignment if you're going to, you know, talk smack about it? And we do this all the time. We look at ourselves in the mirror, and instead of saying nice things, we start picking ourselves apart. Like, oh, I wish this wasn't there, or I wish that this looked different, or instead of trying to find the things that we should admire about ourselves, we're constantly picking little things here and there that nobody even notices most of the time.
Yeah, and what you're saying is what we work on in meditation is that the areas where you can't have yourself, when there's no havingness, that affinity for yourself, is actually where you're not connected to the body. Because
Mm.
anywhere where there's pain or discomfort or judgment, that's where you're not. So that's why a lot of people fall asleep when they meditate or they go unconscious, because those are the areas that you're hitting where you're actually not able to connect to yourself. So it takes the practice, the moving through, the working through the energy. Yeah, somebody
It
asked about,
really does.
and so I saw something about grief. Yeah. Same. Yes. Only way out is through, just like with pain. It's the surrender. It's allowing it to break you down. It's allowing it to rip you apart, because anytime that happens, it's happening to you at that point in your life so that you can recreate yourself. So for you to be reborn, you have to allow that to completely tear you apart. And so the more you surrender and the quicker, if you give it as much time as it needs, you'll get through it more quickly. But if you're overriding it, it'll take longer to get through that energy for you. And yeah, it's like bringing you to your knees so that you can be destroyed by it. It's like facing the shadow, and then you can build yourself up again. And also, an incentive for people when we talk about that in healings is that if you want to connect with that person, you have to be at a higher vibration, because that's usually where they are if they've
Yeah.
transitioned fully. So if you're stuck in the pain, you're not, they're trying to communicate with you, they can't because they're here. So the healing is important because then you can actually connect with them in that part.
This is what many people are struggling with too, with their mediumship. When it comes to developing their skills, they're frustrated. They've kind of plateaued, and that's one of the main reasons why the soul guides have explained, is because they're not focusing on their physical health. Because if the vehicle is not in optimal health, then the spiritual body isn't going to be in optimal health, because it's all connected.
Totally. And you can't get what you want because the limitations that this body gives you is actually a part of your purpose. So you have to know what your limitations are. You have to embrace them and you have to use them to get where you're going. So
Hmm.
that's the most important thing, is understanding who you are, what you need, what your body needs, how you can support yourself emotionally, physically, spiritually, and using the vessel
Yes.
to channel your energy. What happens is a lot of people like to be here because it's easier. They don't work through the pain, but then they don't understand how they're not manifesting what they want, or they don't know what they want, or they can't make decisions, or they're not on their path. Well, because you're not in alignment with your body, because you have this body, you are who you are for a reason. Your story in 3D is important. Because
Yes.
that connected with the unlimited part of you is what you're doing here, is what you're doing.
Beautifully said. And you're starting another class next week, yeah? For those who might be interested in taking one of your classes, you've got a new one that's still got some spaces, yeah?
Yes, I'm currently teaching 3 times a week, and but the part one, which is important, you have to do part 1 to 4 to be able to do my weekly by donation sessions, where those are all my previous students, and we do all kinds of wonderful things. Last week we worked with the Kundalini energy, which was really fun. But yes, my class starting next week, which is the 25th, is my regular class that I've been teaching for years, which is the basic clairvoyant meditation, third eye activation meditation. If you do want to join, not everyone's ready to look at their body, to communicate with their body, and that's okay. You might get there eventually or at some point. But if you are ready, email me, because I don't let people into my class unless I've spoken to them. So I will have a little chat with you, 10 minutes. We'll set that up, and then I'll see who you are. I'll get your energy. We'll connect, and then if you still want to do the class, then you can join. I've told you it's easier to manage
And
the
how
emotion.
long does this class go on for?
It's once a week for an hour to an hour and a half, depending on the questions. But you can the hour is the work, and then we stay on for questions and talking and all of that. It's once a week for 4 weeks. That's part one, and then you get to decide if you want to continue on. And then there's part two and part three and part four, and that's it. And then you get to join the weekly group, which we have a lot of fun. We do a lot of different meditations, but by then you're psychic, so you know how to read energy, you know how to heal yourself. You're on that journey of
Yes, wonderful.
of being your unlimited self here in 3D.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me to take part in your class. I'm very excited about it.
I hope
Yes, it's
you
gonna be wonderful. I am. That's the plan. Yeah, I'm gonna make it happen.
do. I always invite you to take my class, and hopefully you'll do it this time. If you don't, you'll always have another opportunity.
The chaos, it's been a little, like I said, this is the busiest I think I've ever been in my entire life, but I prioritize still,
That's how you need
and
it
I make, yeah.
because it's so busy. Because
I need to develop self-development and spiritual development, I think, is one of the most important things that any of us can do right now. So we should all really be prioritizing this.
and you're working fourth chakra right now, as we know. So that means you're working on the communication with the body. And so
Yes.
the fourth is where you, the spirit, and you, the body, communicate. And so that's meditation. That's and so that's how you'll be able to manage the chaos, because you'll have your stillness. You'll be able to find that stillness for 5 minutes a day, 2 minutes a day, and then go back out into the chaos and know who you are and stay focused. Yeah, thank you. I know you have to go today because you have a
No,
busy.
it's okay. I told I do have a meeting in a little bit, but I like I said, I can make it last a bit longer. I have there's a couple more questions that some people wanted to ask. One person said, "What would you recommend as the best crystals for children?" Probably the quartzes, yeah.
Yeah, I would say
Amethyst, rose,
why am I
clear quartz.
the silver? Well, this one, hematite for little kids. Hematite
Hematite is a great one. The shiny, yes.
tiny, but it's also really good for protection. It's really good for grounding and EMFs. So it's amazing.
Iron in it. Oh yeah.
Labradorite is good also because it's shiny and they love it, and because it's good for protection. And
Aiden's favorite is amethyst. He's crazy about amethyst. Loves it.
amethyst,
Anytime he sees an amethyst, he has to have one.
but hematite for protection on all levels is great. And then
Yeah.
tourmaline as well. You know way more about crystals than me, you and most things.
We all have different stuff we like. And I feel like one of the best things you can do is take children somewhere where they can find their own crystals,
Mhm.
where they can pick them out and feel them out and see how it goes. There's a wonderful places where you can go and kind of like rock hound, and teach them to dig up their own crystals. That's a really cool one because they're spending time outside in nature and they're finding the crystals that are meant for them. You just tell the crystals, this was grown for you. It's been sitting here millions of years waiting for you to come and get it. And they feel so special and so blessed when they have those crystals and they just snuggle them and stuff. It's so cute.
Yeah, and that works for adults too.
It does. It totally does.
And I say to people, I say that about the cards too, because they say, what kind of oracle deck, or if you want to use tarot cards, or for your own healing, for your own working on that internal communication. And I say, yeah, you can buy things online, but if you have a store you can get to, go to a store and see what you're attracted to. That's also very fourth chakra. It's like, what resonates with me, with my body and my soul, with every part of me. So yeah. Yes.
Oh, Megan says, my 4-year-old picked out her first crystal. She picked out a strawberry quartz because it's pink and it was shaped like a kitten. She was so excited about it. Oh, bless.
Yeah.
So cute.
The kids can't get enough of crystals.
No.
I mean, there are kids out there that don't like crystals, but I've never met any of those. But I'm sure there are.
Our little star seeds, they all love their crystals because they can feel that they, feel better when they have them around.
Yeah.
And Aiden, for example, I have my whole bucket here of organite that I made, my first batch of organite that I made with Christopher and Daniela. And these little things, I've been giving them out to people. It's because, they're not perfect. There's some of them are even still sticky because I didn't mix it properly. But the kids, they love these little organites that you can make and carry around in your pocket. They've got the metal shavings in there with the crystals and stuff. They love these. They really do. Every child, I've been giving them away mostly to children that come over because they see them and they're like, oh, because Aiden's got a couple of them, and I'm like, oh, you like it? Here you go. Here's one for you. And then they have it on them all the time. They keep it in their pockets and they have it in their backpacks and stuff.
Yeah, it's the same vibration as animals, so it's the same thing. They're drawn to animals for the same reason. It's that high. It's really your vibration you carry. You're like a crystal.
Well, this is also true because when you're making these, you're imbuing them with your own energy. So if you're listening to classical music and you bless them and you call on your spirit team to increase their vibration, these little things can do quite a lot to keep you on an even keel throughout the day.
Oh yeah, you don't have to. I I love them. I
Love
have them
organizing.
all over the place. Yeah, and yeah, don't worry. I'm gonna go through all the messages here and the comments and answer some. If I have time to, I'll definitely do it today. But I'm
So
sorry.
how can people get in touch with you if they're interested in starting up with the class?
Should I put my email in here? It's just Krupnik Tzipora without the big R. You can see it on there at
Okay.
gmail.com.
Yeah, let me write
I
that
do I
down.
do have
Krupnik.
I don't have it the class on my site. I used to, but it was too complicated because people have to. I would rather you talk to me first, and we schedule a free chat before you sign up for the class. So it's just krupniktzipora@gmail.com.
There we go. I think I spelled it correctly. Included the K. Is that right?
Yeah, might be
Okay.
yeah, I think that'll work with a big T. And then my website is tzipora but you can't sign up for classes on there, just for readings and healings. But probably in June, I'll have
And
some.
you do readings. You want to explain a little bit about those readings that you do for people as well?
Yeah,
I've
readings.
sent quite a few people to you for readings, and every person has come through and said, "Wow, like holy shit, that was wild." They
Uh,
love your readings, and they're so accurate.
I'm a teacher, so I do the same thing every time with people, but it's always different because everyone's different. But all we do is we look at you as spirit. We look at what you're working on in present time, because there's always like a theme.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go through all the chakras and give you a healing, and we talk about whatever shows up there. If something's blocked, if you have something attached there, if you have a portal, if you have an entity, if you have past life pictures you're clearing, whatever it is, we go through everything, and then I look at questions at the end, so you can ask about pretty much anything that came up in the reading, or anything about your 3D life, relationships, work, people. I have clients who get sessions all the time just for asking questions, but I do push them to do more inner work. I'm like, I'm not answering all your questions forever. You go do the work yourself.
And you do work on children as well. A lot of the clients I've been sending to you are for children. Children with things like autism and stuff. And you've
Yeah,
had some success with that as well.
yes, but that's more in person. So if you wanted me to work on your kid physically, you'd have to come to France, because I'm here. I did when I lived in California. I worked with autistic kids in person. But I will always give your family or your kids, if you want that, a reading and a healing once I've given you the reading and healing, because I can read their energy through your space. I can have access to their energy through you. So yeah, readings and healings, do that every day. And we look at whatever you want to, but really it's whatever shows up. It's whatever you're working on right now, because we're always working on a million different things. But it is important to focus on, there are steps. If I do this, then I can move to this. So,
Interesting.
and clear the house
Hmm.
and whatever. Yeah, and shadow.
Well, do you want to try and tune in to me really quick and see what you can pick up? Really, really, just to give them an idea of what you might find for a reading. I'm
Okay.
open for it. I got some time. Yeah.
Your energy, but we can, yeah, sure. Do you want to ask a question? Oh, you know what we can do?
Um.
Like what we said. Let's give you a healing, because you said you have a really busy day. So let's reset.
Yeah. Whatever. I'm down for anything, really. I'm I'm very easygoing with this stuff.
Okay. So always, let me just connect. Okay. May this healing grant you peace, serenity, and acceptance on your spiritual journey in this physical body. Amen. Okay. So please give me your full name 3 times.
Laura Elizabeth Starr. Laura Elizabeth Starr. Laura Elizabeth Starr.
So the first thing I could see is that you're here, but you're like a few steps ahead. You're like, I have all these things to do. So it's interesting, because that's how you see the energy. It's like I could see sort of the silhouette of you in present time, but then I can see your energy that is coming from the mind, really, and the doing, the active part of you that's literally running into the future. But you're like, I have to get all the stuff done. So you can see right away wherever that person is. And so we're gonna just tell you the snail. I just love the snail. It's one of my power animals. My daughter did this for me, just so you know, because the snail is so good.
Oh,
It reminds us to
they
slow
carry their homes on their backs. I like snails.
exactly. And you're working on that right now with your fourth chakra. You're working on being at home, being here and having everything come to you versus running to it or getting it done in a sense. So we're just helping you come back into present time. And what I'm doing is a lot of things, but I'm just going to help reground you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're working a little bit of shadow energy in the first chakra on the right side, and that's okay. That means that you're stepping into your next steps are going to be you're taking steps on, where am I going? Where am I going? It's also very much about taking a next step, and also around home. Where do I belong? But more on a physical level. There we go. You just connected in the third. You're going to feel a lot better now that you're in present time and you're not
I
a
can feel you working again. I can feel the energetic fingers again.
That's great. Yeah. You're going to get way more done from one step at a time, one moment at a time. See, and this is the minute you come back, you shift from the limited part of you, which is the time and space, and I have to do this and I have to do that. And it's a limiting energy. It's also an energy where like you never succeed because there's always more. And now that you've shifted, you're accessing your intuition and your energy, and you're way more expanded. Good. So we're just going to give you some energy as well, some extra love.
Thank you.
I mean, what's your favorite color?
Teal.
We're going to give you some extra protection. I know you do your own protection, but good. Oh, I can see that growth period coming here. First chakra level. Good. Do you want to ask anything before I call this a healing?
My mind is blank at the moment.
That's okay. You don't need to. You're in a very relaxed.
Anything that I'm open to any suggestions though. Anything that comes to mind.
No, I think I'm happy with you being relaxed. Just validating your first chakra. You keep pulling me to that right leg. There's some things that you've been wanting to do, but you're maybe not getting to them, or you're not having time for them. And it's starting to create sort of a negative cycle within you where you're like beating yourself up sometimes about it, like, hey, you should do this. And you're not. And so when you do that, it starts to block your energy. And, so
I
yeah.
haven't been able to write in my book as much as I would like to. So yeah. I got frustrated with myself because I fell asleep last night rather than writing.
Yeah. And it's interesting that it's showing up on a first chakra level for you. So there's so much more that we could talk about here. Yeah, it's related to like old beliefs. So look at, instead of trying to write the book, work on looking at what are your beliefs around stability and structure, and like building something long lasting for yourself.
Yeah.
And there's some of your father's energy in there, or some of there's some shadow energy around your father here, things that he didn't look at or work out that now you're having to.
My father was a psychiatrist.
So that's.
Oh yeah, he's enjoying the show. We'll put it that way right now. That's for sure.
Yeah. And if you do my class next week, it's really going to help, because this is the first area you're going to start working on, and this is your growth period right now. This area is calling for you like yesterday. That's why it shows up as
I can feel it.
Like you're going to get a slap.
I felt like I was in a small pot, and I've been transplanted recently, so now I'm stretching.
And it's about like moving forward, taking a step and creating something for your family, for yourself, like putting your roots down, creating something stable. That's the energy you're working through. And there's pain here. So that's why you're sort of.
I didn't want to come back to the States. The only reason I'm here is because of Aiden.
Yep. So this has to be looked at. And that's, and all of this is going to come up for you. And you can see that even though the energy that you're looking to work through, where it's like, again, you're going to have to go into a dark cave and like solve the mysteries in there, which is fun too, but some of it is painful, and that's why you're not getting to it. It's like, I don't want to go there, it hurts, it's unconscious, but you're sort of like going that way instead of that way. And so the more you ground and sit, the more you're going to start to work through that energy. But what I was going to say, and then I'm going to stop, is that you do already know how to run your energy here, which is great. You know how to be grounded and practical and structured. And so once you clear out the shadow energy, meaning once you get to know yourself on that level in present time, it'll be easy for you to create that for yourself because you actually know how to do it. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm just going to validate that again for you. Good. And now you're going to feel more in slow motion for the rest of the day.
It's better than flying by the seat of my pants like I've been feeling lately. That's fine by me. I'll embrace my inner snail. It's all good.
Yeah, do it one step at a time. You're still going to get everything done. Even better.
Yeah.
You're not going to be exhausted.
Thank you.
I'm so happy.
Thank you. That felt amazing.
Yes.
I do. Sharon would like to know, Shannon would like to know if you do couples readings to help with relationship issues.
No, I don't. There's because I tried that before, and the first time I tried this was years ago, and I just started, and I was like, yeah, sure. You can't do that because you're going so intimate into this person's space, and it's sometimes the other person's not ready to hear what this person's working on. It's not easy to do in this kind of setting. And I know because a lot of my clients have asked me for it because I work with couples, but separately. And I can say that.
I can imagine that would help working with couples separately, though.
Yes.
To kind of get to know. Because, think you're not going to fit together if you're both not, if you're not sorting out your own stuff.
Even couples therapy is really difficult to do. It's not easy for couple therapists to do it. But I can tell you that when you get a reading, always I do this for my clients, is we look at the relationship space. And when you look at it from a psychic space, it's really easy to see exactly what's going on. It's like, duh, because you're looking at this person, and then you're looking at what's happening in the relationship space. Usually what happens to people is that they bring all their unresolved stuff into the relationship space, and then they try to solve each other's problems, and then it's just a shit show, which really what needs to happen is you have to understand that you have to work on your own stuff. Other person works on their stuff. And the relationship space is what you're creating in present time, which your old unresolved stuff does not enter, because then that's going to be a problem. You don't bring your baggage in there. So I'm really simplifying this right now. But when you're reading energy, you can separate your space from the other person's space, and you can look at the relationship space, and you can get a lot of clarity as to exactly what's going on. And I do that every day, is look at relationship spaces, if it's with you and your partner, or with you and your child, or even with you and your pet. So that's why you should all learn clairvoyance, because it's a wonderful tool to have. You can see, you see clearly. I think we talked about that, about the hawk as the clairvoyant spirit guide, because the hawk looks at everything from above with that neutrality of, I see the big picture and I'm not caught up in it. Because when you're caught up in yourself, your problems, your relationships, you can't see anything clearly. But when you...
And I love how we were talking about all of that, and the hawk literally flew over my head while we were talking about it. It's like, oh, here's your validation for the universe.
And that's how it works.
Yes. Absolutely. Thank you so much for all of your insight today. This has really been a wonderful conversation. I just love spending time with you. Helena said underneath, I need to go to France to finish my book. I think I might just take you up on that, because she's been inviting me to come hang out with her in France. I think I might actually have to take her up on that. And
Helena, it's gorgeous where I am. I do have a space. I don't use it that often because I try to do sessions in French, and it was too frustrating for me because my French is not good enough. And a lot of this is communicating deep things and profound things. And so I stopped doing that because it was really frustrating me. But I do have a space and I use it for friends or family for healings. And I live in the most beautiful place. So you should come visit.
I would
It's
love to.
the Loire Valley, and there's a lot of castles here. So if you want to visit castles,
Wonderful.
you can come.
Who else?
And
Who wants to come with me? We'll go visit Tzipora.
well, we are planning to do a retreat at some point, probably not this year, but
I
that's
was gonna say we need to do a retreat,
we're
definitely.
manifesting it for the future for sure. For sure.
100%.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I'm in Amboise. It's
Amboise.
Amboise. It's Amboise in France, and I'll put it in the comments later. And it's where Leonardo. It's a very touristy place because it's where Leonardo da Vinci. His last house is here, and you can visit it. And he.
Vinci's one of my favorites.
This is where the Mona Lisa came to. He came here on a donkey from Italy to Amboise with the Mona Lisa in the pocket of his donkey and another painting, which I can't remember, to Amboise. And he apparently, there's a castle here because there was a king, and he was apparently having a relationship with the king. So there's a secret passage under the castle where he used to go from his house. The king, who at the time here, gifted Leonardo da Vinci his last house. So it's a chateau. It's a gorgeous mansion, but there's a tunnel going from his mansion to the king.
Wow.
You can't visit it now, but it used to be open to the public, but they closed it. And so yeah, there's a lot of cool history.
Love it.
And
Wonderful. I love France. It's a wonderful place. I'm very excited to come and see you. That'd be fantastic.
good. Well, we'll talk soon. I want you to stay
Awesome.
in your
Yes, yes. Thank
day.
you.
Right?
I feel amazing. You're just a most wonderful person. Thank you so much. And for those of you who would like to sign up for her class, make sure that you check it out. You can email her. You can check out her website, tzipora but then you can just email her and she'll send you the details about the class.
Yeah, I'm all about like connecting. If you're not ready to connect, you're not ready to do my class. But if you're ready to communicate, then great. And if not, you can always take it at another time. I hopefully will keep teaching for many more years. And they said,
yes, without a doubt.
But Lara,
so I just have to say, Angelica and Siddhartha will be back on today at 1:00 on the Astara community. And Ron and Michael will be on tomorrow at 1:00 as well. And we've also got Kaya Usher. Kaya has been doing live activations every day at 10:30, which is really wonderful. And this Sunday, we're going to be having a mediumship circle. So for those of you who would also like to try out, this is a part of the Astara community as well. And that will be led by, I believe, Rachel Chamness on Sunday. So we've got lots of wonderful psychic development stuff going on. And, I hope you guys are using these tools because this is the time, to really work on mastering our skills here, our talents.
Yeah, I just saw somebody say that they don't have money to do classes, but I was going to say that that's not a problem with me. I've been doing this for 20 years. You can always get a payment plan, and we can, if you're committed and you want to do the work, don't let that stop you. Connect with me, and we'll figure it out. Lara, thank you.
I love you, Tzipora. Thank you so much. And I love all of you. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye, guys.